Hey, you all know what time it is? Because we have this lovely clock behind us.
Welcome to The Lady and the Fox again. Today we're actually going to be talking about, we're taking a step back, we're not talking about van life, we're house sitting at the moment. So we're actually going to discuss what it felt like getting rid of everything.
And yeah, for me, I think that was probably one of the hardest things in starting van life that no one really talks about. Everyone just says, oh, just get rid of it all. Easier said than done. When you pull everything out of your cupboards and you have it everywhere, exposed for you to see, it can be very overwhelming. And
it was very overwhelming.
Yeah, you go through things, you work out what you can sell, you work out what you're going to donate and what you're going to throw out, and you try and keep the throw out pile as little as possible because you want your stuff working.
You want to get as much money as you can for what you're parting with.
And what you can't sell, you want to go to donate. For us guys, especially ones that have collected tools over your lifetime, it's really confronting to go, oh, I'm not going to have this piece of workshop equipment, I'm not going to have this, I'm not going to have that. And you have to condense it down.
And work out what you're actually going to need for van life.
Exactly. And for myself, I've kept some power tools that are battery operated, obviously, and I worked out a system to recharge the batteries from 12 volt. Very simple, basic thing. I might do a video on that just to show people how I've done it and how it works. And it can be done really cheaply. But all us guys might have 2-3 drills, or 3 or 4 angle grinders and all that sort of stuff, or whatever the tool is that with the things that you're into building. And we've got to minimise all that down. And you always have your favourites, but it's hard to get to that. And that's probably the hardest thing for a guy with the workshop stuff and so forth, with whatever thing he's into. And it's probably the same with women. I know Mary had issues with craft.
Actually, I'll take over from that.
Yeah, sure.
So going back to, rather than the shed, but the actual house, for me personally, what I found before I get into the craft is that there was definitely moments where we were actually dragging things out from the junk drawers, things that when you move from house to house, you would throw all that stuff into a box, and then when you get to the new house, you kind of just dump it into your junk drawer again. Never really sorting it, or maybe just sorting it a touch, but you're still actually getting left with those things. We were confronted with having to actually pull them out, I literally popped it onto the floor, and I had to deal with that. I had to deal with what was worth keeping, donating, and unfortunately the majority of it was actually all just bin stuff. And that was stuff that's been getting carted around from house to house for probably the last 15 years, maybe longer. So that was actually refreshing to actually deal with that. So if you haven't done that before, I suggest you do it, because it is really refreshing to actually finally part with some of those bits and pieces.
And if you've got the opportunity, plan ahead. Plan a year, 6 months ahead to start going through everything.
Oh yeah.
Because you'll still hang on to it until right at the end.
Yeah.
Don't know why, it just happened that way for us, and probably has happened for a lot of other people too.
I think we did it over 3 months. Roughly.
And we still had heaps of stuff right.
It was difficult. But even my craft stuff, as James started talking about just before, I had the tubs in my lounge room, and I sat down with them, I think probably about 5 times, pulling everything out and re-going through them, working out what was storage, because I popped some into storage. Thank you to my friends who are looking after my storage items. And then...
and plants.
And plants, yes. Okay, I couldn't part with all of my plants. So I've kept some craft items that I know that I'll definitely be using. I had to work out what I was going to take with me in van life because, as we've mentioned before, I do have a business. that I'm trying to continue on the road with me. So I've got to have certain things with me. So I've got my craft items actually taking up space in the trailer, and I really wanted to minimize how much space they take up, because we also have the tools that are in there for emergencies, as James was saying before, and then we've got our normal camp stuff and bedding and all the rest of that in the van as well. So it is actually a big ordeal to sort through what you're keeping and what you're not. Some people, I guess, would put their things into storage. For us, we chose not to do that. We've kept maybe 6 tubs, a track car and a trailer, and a few other bits and pieces from the shed that are important to not part with. So yes, we have a small amount of things, everything's with some friends anyway, looking after them, so we don't have to pay for storage, which is really wonderful, and we appreciate you guys for helping us.
We can't afford storage either.
No, we can't afford storage, admittedly, because as James has said in previous videos, we're doing this on a budget, so we had to work everything out to maintain this budget. And for a lot of people, I know that you put your things into storage, so therefore you don't necessarily have to do what we had to go through. But I will actually say that overall, I think it was very refreshing for us to go through what we went through, in going through the shed, in going through what was in the house, all the plants in the backyard, and getting rid of probably about 95% of our items. And I'm also proud to say that we also helped out some people in need by either selling some of our higher quality items cheaply to give them and their children some better equipment for the lounge room, such as a big TV or a comfortable couch that they did not have.
We sold a car for half of what we should have got for it.
Yeah, we did actually.
Yeah,
someone really needed a car and they had no money, and we knew that the car we had no issues. It just needed probably a new paint job, but a lot of people can't afford to, do a paint job, or maybe they just want to buy a car that doesn't need work. So yeah, we sold it off cheaply to someone who was in desperate need of a car. They also lived out of town, so they had no way of going and buying food or anything without a car. So if you're in a position where you're able to help someone, I think that's something that we highly recommend, because why not? It's not about really what you get out of it. It's about just being helpful. And if you're in a position where you can say, okay, yeah, I can do this, we can do this, then why not?
Yeah. But yeah, going through all the our bits and pieces and things, and you'll have things that silly, that you think, why am I hanging on to this? But you find it hard to throw away. And I think that will happen with everyone.
Yep.
That goes
For me, it
through
was pens.
Yeah. It'll happen to everyone that that goes through what we did, the same as what we did. And I found it one of the hardest things to do. And just for the sheer
there was weeks of things just left out in the lounge room floor and all through the house.
It's more a mind thing of like, what am I going to do with this? I'll deal with that later. And
when you're doing what we're doing, you are very limited with. You run out of time to deal with it later.
You find it later sooner than what you hope. And, but yeah, hopefully what we've talked about has been a bit of an insight for some people that are wondering how that is.
Yeah.
Our best advice would be to plan. We also sold items to buy materials for the van in the process as well. So that's where our budget, we didn't get as much for everything as we hoped as well, but we had a timeline, we had to stick by it. So yeah, if you can, plan as much as you can and work towards, give yourself as much time as you possibly can. The more time you've got to deal with it, the better, but you'll still have a whole lot of cramming right at the end.
And if you're not doing van life, I would still recommend that you go through
good cull of your products, of your stuff every now and again will really enrich your life too.
Yep.
Anyway, I think we should probably call it at that.
Yep.
And
don't want to keep you guys forever.
I can ramble forever. as
That's
people
true.
will soon find out. But yeah, anyway, like, subscribe, hit the bell notification, all that fun stuff, and hopefully we didn't take up too much of your time.
Alright, bye guys.
See ya!